Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and tonight it's our annual Halloween show in front of a live audience. At the most haunted bar in Columbus, Ohio, the Jury Room, tonight on Whiskey Business. Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business, a podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey, with our live Halloween show tonight. Hello, people.
Yes.
Right. We are in front of a live audience here for our Halloween show at the Jury Room, supposedly one of the most haunted bars in Columbus, Ohio. And a big thanks to one of our guests this evening. Megan Dempsey is here tonight.
Yes.
Megan Dempsey, who is somewhat of a skeptic and isn't so sure that the spooky going-ons here cannot be explained away, despite the history the Jury Room has. Now, she will be here this evening along with Ralph Scott.
Ralphie.
Ralph Scott is here tonight. Actor, writer, and, for lack of a better description, spiritual empath who's been seeing ghosts and experiencing and feeling the presence of spirits since he was a small child. Now, I can tell you, and I'm just teasing you a little bit now, he broke into a cold sweat earlier this evening for no apparent reason when he entered the place. So it'll be interesting to talk to Ralph a little bit later on and maybe get Ralph and Megan together and exchange thoughts and ideas before that's all said and done. Also, the CEO of Gateway Film Center, Chris Hamel, is here tonight.
Yeah, he is. God, he looks so handsome.
The Nightmares Film Festival, what some people call the Cons of Horror, is actually taking place later in October. We'll be talking to Chris about that and how that festival has just grown in leaps and bounds to become one of the premier horror festivals in the country, if not the world. So Chris Hamel, a little bit later this evening. This morning. It's been a long day. Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much. And of course, I could not do this podcast without my favorite Halloweenies here this evening. John Whitney, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Woof, woof. Woof, woof. Chip Cosell over there.
You didn't like my woof?
And the biggest weenie of them all, Greg Hansberry,
over
here.
I love all the weenies.
I didn't mean that in a complimentary way. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
I take what I can get from you.
And it's interesting because Halloween, and this is just my summation of, I know you guys all love Halloween way more than I do. I mean, I appreciate the holiday. I like the spookiness of it. I like what it all represents. But you guys, most of you are really all in. And if I had to go in pecking order from, and Chip, I apologize, I don't know how into Halloween you are, but it goes Chip third, John Whitney second, and I put him in second only because his wife surpasses his love for Halloween.
By association.
Yeah. But the biggest one is Hansberry, who is calling himself now a Halloween influencer.
Yeah, okay.
You can follow me on TikTok, Halloween Hansberry. Fresh content.
Halloween Hansberry?
Yeah, Halloween
You start getting excited about Halloween like in July.
True,
July. As soon as I see the first Brax candy corn pop up,
right?
I'm
there
in.
you go.
You know they sell that shit all year round.
Well, then the first time I see it,
okay. So you get excited.
I don't care.
Yeah. You should see his front yard. It's awesome.
His front yard is awesome, and that's why I brought it up, because his front yard has caused some disruptions in the neighborhood, so to speak.
I might get kicked out.
You might get kicked out. There is a lady who lives next to you.
Across the street.
Across the street from you? Okay.
Yeah.
Across the street next to you.
Well,
but she has put up something to deflect what she considers to be the evil that you have created and is now emitting from your home.
This is true. It's so it looks like when you graduate, you get one of those like tassels, right? It looks like a tassel with a mirror on top, and she has it on the door to reflect all the negative shit back to me.
Wow. Okay.
Does it work?
You gotta ask her. She just put it up as soon as I put.
As soon as the Halloween decorations are up, she put her thing up.
And then she'll put it down. Take it down.
And when you put your stuff down, she'll take it off.
Correct.
So she does not think that you are evil 365 days a year.
Well, I don't know about that. I can't speak for her.
Yeah.
It's reflecting the evil from the all the Dollar Tree Halloween.
Thanks, Chip.
Yard decorations?
Come on. Well, don't give everybody my secret. I go with the Dollar Tree.
No, I'm sure you go. What's that other one? Halloween Town or
Spirit?
Halloween Spirit. That's it.
So she believes that what you're doing is you're encouraging evil to come into the neighborhood.
She says as soon as you do that,
you're sending an invitation out.
Yeah. And if it's in the neighborhood, it might as well be at her house. They do have a pool, so I don't blame them if I.
Have you ever been to their pool?
Yeah, I have.
You have been.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've actually been invited
over
over
there.
there.
We're friends, and she's Chinese, which I mean, it doesn't matter per se, but I think that her culture is very superstitious. I think that has something to do with it.
Are you superstitious?
Yeah.
So, do you think that you might unconsciously open a portal to hell when you're doing all this stuff?
No, because to Chip's point, it's all from the dollar store. You know what I mean?
Now Chips, the portal of hell for
it's
$1.
Cheaper than you think. $1.25.
$1.25. True. Well, good luck. Good luck with everything. And how do you think is your first year as an official
Halloween influencer? Halloween Hansberry on TikTok.
Is it working for you? Has it picked up any traction? Has it become a thing?
I'm working on it.
Yeah. What do you think you need to do to bump it up?
Probably be good at it.
That's a good point.
That'd be a plus.
Also, I want to thank this evening a very special person who is behind the bar.
Yes.
I consider him the mad scientist in the libationary sciences. It's not a thing, but I think it should be. Jesse Hubbard, everybody, behind the bar.
Yes. Face paint and all.
Jesse has been with us on Whiskey Business numerous times and has volunteered his time and his talents this evening. You have drinks in front of you. I have been drinking Dante's Inferno, which is made with a local Irish whiskey, Bua. Yeah. And I believe Bua is in the house tonight, as well, and it's delicious. You have a couple of other ones over there as well. Trust me, if Jesse Hubbard came up with them, they're great.
Man, so
good. By all means, continue to indulge tonight here on Whiskey Business. That's why we normally have a guest bottle, but since I have the most amazing guest as your bartender this evening, he is the guest bottle extraordinaire. Jesse Hubbard, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, Jesse. So good.
He also has his Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Punk Rock and Cocktails, which has just been selling like crazy. If you want a great book that has original cocktails in it, and if you're a fan of punk rock, this is Jesse's love of music and cocktails put together in 2 beautiful volumes that are available tonight for purchase as well, if you want to check those out.
He'll sign it, too.
And he will sign it.
I'll sign it, too. If you
and
give it,
Hansberry will sign it, too, and mess it up for you. So let a Halloween influencer sign your book.
One day you're going to look back and say, I knew him when
he
was just a small fledgling influencer.
I'm going to be very curious about tonight. As I mentioned, Megan Dempsey is here tonight, the owner of the Jury Room, and this place has a lot of history.
Thanks, Jesse.
A lot of history. Supposedly, and I'll verify this with Megan, this place was built over the Hopewell Indian burial grounds. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll find out, which already kind of creeps me out a little bit. So we'll find out a little bit about that and some of the spooky going-ons that have happened here over the centuries. And then we'll see what Megan thinks all about that, share some of the stories with you, then Ralph will join us. But my first guest tonight, if Halloween in October is your month for horror films, then the Gateway Film Center is where you need to be. Why don't you join me in welcoming our first guest tonight, the CEO, the program director. Hell, I think he even makes popcorn if he has to. Chris Hamel from Gateway Film Center. Hello, friend. I also want to add a personal note. One of the best smelling men I've ever
Just
met.
look at him.
If handsome had a scent, it would be Chris Hamel. You should have your own cologne. Hamel.
He looks like he smells good.
I'm not sure that you don't have your own cologne.
Yeah, I very well might.
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. The Nightmares Film Festival, how many years now has it been going on?
This is our 8th year, believe it or not.
The 8th year. And I'm going to quote Movie Maker magazine calls it one of the bloody best genre fests in the world.
Nice.
In the world.
I'll buy
it's
that.
also been known as the Cannes Film Festival of Horror. Those
Wow,
are pretty strong
huge.
recommendations and words.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of those. You can keep telling people that over and over again. That'd be great.
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, it's growing. It's grown in a big way. The guests we had on last year's Halloween podcast, Hope Madden, George Wolf, they came on. Obstacle Corpse, I believe, premiered at Nightmare.
That's right.
George in the audience.
At Nightmares last year, and has gone on to incredible success and is now streaming on Amazon and maybe even Tubi by the time this podcast lands as well.
With ads.
With ads, of course, yeah. But so forth. But that debuted there, and you get films. Do you get films from all over the world?
We do, yes.
So tell me more about the festival. What's all involved? I know what it runs. It runs through October the 26th to the 29th.
You're doing all the heavy lifting for me.
I know, but I want to know about how the whole thing started.
Sure. Well, my partner Jason Tostev and I have a really deep love for horror films. And so honestly, we started the festival to sort of celebrate that and share new horror films with our audiences and to some degree with the world. And over the years, though, we built these really incredible relationships with filmmakers. And now it's like a year-long commitment to the art of making movies.
Wow.
We love horror films, whether it's October or not.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most amazing things about Nightmares Film Festival is how many people have met at our festival and then made new films together. So when audiences come out to the film center and they see these films, they get to rub shoulders with the people who made them. They get to talk about ideas and how certain shots were made. How did they get that stuff on screen? And I think it's a really amazing experience, and that's why it keeps growing year after year.
I got to say, I was there once, and I was just chit-chatting with this dude, and he was like, yeah, I got a movie. And he was from New York City, all excited, a film student. And I was like, yeah, here's my buddy George. And it was like, oh, you're George Wolf? You are like, they're very excited to be in each other's company. And to your point, it's a community. It's very cool.
Yeah, it is a community, and it's a community that you're allowed to love things in.
Yeah.
And there just aren't that many of those
nerds.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
So when you go to Nightmares Film Festival, again, you get to see incredible new films, but also you get to meet a lot of the filmmakers behind them, and I think that's a really unique experience.
It is very cool. Now, have you seen anything that is frightened you?
Scary?
I have two questions for you in respects to horror films. Something that's frightened you as an adult in recent years that really just scared the crap out of you.
So I lived through the Trump presidency. So that scared me.
That's true.
And that's well documented.
Pretty badly. But
yeah.
you know, it's funny. Before we came on tonight, Hope Madden, who's here tonight, we were talking about sort of our scariest jump scares ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think The Exorcist 3
Wow.
has possibly the scariest scene I have ever seen in a movie. And I think a lot of people ignore that film because you think it's just some throwaway
It's a 3.
horror
so
movie.
You make assumptions.
And you can totally throw away 2. You never need to watch that movie ever again. But Halloween 3 has possibly the scariest
Is
scene
it the
I've
hospital
ever seen
scene?
in a movie.
The hospital scene?
It is a hospital scene,
Yeah, okay, I know what
yes.
you're talking about.
That's all I want to say because I want you to go home and watch it and then be like, man, he's right. That was really scary.
George was on the radio show this morning reviewing Exorcist Believer, and he referred to Exorcist 3 a couple of times over the course of that review. So I'm going to have to go back and watch that one for sure. Now, as a child, what movie scared you the most?
Probably Night of the Hunter.
Oh.
Okay.
Not necessarily a horror
Correct.
film per se.
But, you know, the first movie I remember just being terrified was Night of the Hunter. And my mother showed it to me, and for years I held it over her head. Like that really scared the hell out of me. Thanks for doing that. Because it's not a traditional horror film to your point, but
do you speak to her now?
I don't.
We've
been estranged for many years since I watched Night of the Hunter, actually.
It happens. It happens.
No, that movie scared me to death when I was a kid.
Because you were a child, and there was a child at risk.
Yes. And that movie, I can't even watch the trailer now. It scares me too much.
So it's still
even as an adult. Yeah, it really bothers me.
Isn't that interesting that there's certain films that as a child frightened you, but still stay in your gut for some reason and level? It's interesting how that is, because I still get squeamish over certain Hammer films, Dracula Hammer films, when because they were big on the blood.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah, man. And the 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
Still gives me a little bit of a creep.
For sure.
And my buddy Clark mentioned one today by Robert Wise, The Haunting, which is very gothic, but still just creepy. Not necessarily jump scares per se, but just a creepiness that stays.
Paranormal Activity. Anybody? Those
everybody's got their favorites.
It's not my favorite. It's the scariest. It's the one that.
Do you have a favorite?
But it's like cliche. It's The Shining.
Well, that's
not cliche.
Another cliche.
I'm with you on The Shining, man. I'm with you on The Shining.
Paranormal Activity is like the scariest movie to watch at your house.
Exactly.
Like it's not that scary, except when you're in bed watching it, and you're like, oh, I can't watch this.
Especially when they make you believe that shit can happen.
Totally.
And Ralph Scott will be joining us a little bit later on. Ralph is more than convinced that there are entities in my home. There are. Not doing anything mischievous per se. Yeah, well, I've been there for 20 plus years. They probably said, screw it. he's not going to scare easy. John Whitney, you love film. What's your favorite scary movie?
Well, I already said I'm with him on The Shining. I think it's a masterpiece. That's it.
Stanley
It's a masterpiece.
Kubrick, yeah.
What's the scariest movie though? Because I think they're two different things.
I don't have the scariest movie. I'm not a huge horror fan, but I love Kubrick and I love The Shining, and I can't
Fair
really
enough.
go to any other film, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm. Chip.
Alien.
Okay.
Wow.
That's the very first R-rated movie I ever saw. And when the android robot guy gets his head severed and the white milky stuff spills out, a person right in front of me spilled their Coke and it went, and it was like,
Yeah.
It was so crazy. That was a really scary movie, though. That was really scary.
For me, it was in college. It was the very first Halloween. That one creeped me out.
What about Scream? Anybody our generation Scream? No.
Yeah.
That was like when they rebooted it all, like for the next generation,
right.
and that was it was a pop culture phenomenon. It just took everything over.
So in respects to the festival, Chris, how do people, because this podcast will drop next week, so a lot of lead time to let people know how they can get tickets and when it's taking place. I said October 26th through the 29th.
Yeah.
How many films are going to be involved? Can you go see everything? Can you go one night, all the nights? What do you do?
Yeah, the best thing to do, honestly, is to get a festival pass, which you can do at gatewayfilmcenter.org or at nightmaresfilmfest.com. There are 17 features, a couple world premieres this year, and then there were over 150 short films in this year's program, and some of them are funny. Some of them, we even have documentary shorts this year.
Nice.
But most of them will scare the hell out of you. So the great thing about getting a festival pass is you can watch as much as you want, and if you don't like something, you can just move on to the next one. But it's really a great weekend in Columbus, and again, if you love horror films or genre films or you don't, you still get a chance to meet all these filmmakers and be around other people who love movies. So I think it's one of the great things to do all year round in Columbus, and certainly the weekend before Halloween.
Sure. That's awesome. All right.
I got one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
For Chris. So 8 years? Is this the 8th year?
This is the 8th year,
Eighth year. Okay. Out of the 8 years, is there one film that you can remember that you said, holy shit, we were lucky to get that one?
Yeah, there's really these really incredible people in Columbus, Ohio, Hope Madden and George Wolf, who we premiered Obstacle Corps last year at Nightmares Film Festival. And while you think that's feckless pandering.
Yeah,
I really mean it. We were so lucky to premiere it, and they're such great folks, and also the film is really great. So if people haven't seen it yet, check it out.
It's fun. It's fun. For sure.
Dino said earlier, it's streaming now, but yeah, we're
It's
really
streaming
really
on
thrilled.
Amazon for sure, and I believe by the time this podcast drops, you'll check it out on Tubi
With ads
as well.
with ads.
With ads. I don't know why you keep saying that.
Well, Chris, I watched a short by George and Hope online. Are you guys doing any online, films or something we could subscribe to, watch from home, stream?
We're not yet. We did online the year of COVID's peak. We did a program called Masquerade that year.
Okay, that's much.
And our festival is so much about being together and experiencing these things in a community that we're not really big fans of streaming.
I hear you. Absolutely.
But stay tuned. You never know.
You're right when you said COVID's peak, I thought, is that the name of the next
That's a
horror
great
film?
movie. That's a great movie.
COVID's peak.
That movie has got to have already been made.
I've got
right?
the rights to it.
But even though we haven't announced our lineup, COVID's Peak will not be playing in the 2023 edition of Nightmares Film
And
Festival.
can we share how much tickets are? Or is there a price that we
There
can...
are festival passes. Yes, they're available right now for $150.
That sounds like a bargain.
That gets you into every single screening and the private events. And then there are single screening tickets available for $20. Those go on sale next Friday the 13th.
Perfect.
At 6 p.m. And that's also the full lineup announcement then.
Coincidence.
I mean, I don't know how we picked it.
And when does Hamel, the cologne, come out?
Like I said, are you sure it's not out now?
No, I'm not. I'm really not. Chris
We'll send
Hamel,
you a bottle.
everybody.
All right,
Chris
Chris.
Hamel. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much.
Who's the famous Hamel? Isn't there a famous Hamel?
Nice to have what?
Who's the actor Hamel?
No, you're talking about
Mark Hamill?
Yeah,
yeah.
Horror
That's not-
actor
you
Mark
related to
Hamill?
him?
No, not the same spelling.
Okay.
Not the same spelling.
never
at
know.
all.
The guy
You
who's
don't know
really
until you
tan,
ask.
that Hamel?
But I'm very proud to say that Chris Hamel will now be part of the Whiskey Business podcast history. We just found this out. I want to thank the Evergreen Podcast Network. That is our family network. They're out of Cleveland. They are worldwide. And they took us on a couple of years ago. And
evergreenpodcast.com.
Yep.
Yes.
And a internet blog called FeedSpot, I believe, took out the best 25 podcasts you should be listening to in 2023. And Whiskey Business was one of the top 25 out of the sea of thousands.
Oh, thank you.
Also, they said that we were one of the top 50 specifically whiskey podcasts you should be listening to as well.
In the world.
Yeah, in the world. And, we were I'll be honest with you, we were in the middle of the pack on both of those lists. We probably could be higher, but we drink. So,
We forget about it.
What are you going to do?
afterwards?
Yeah, maybe we took the podcast
It's a
a bit more
podcast
seriously
with whiskey.
not so much about whiskey.
Right.
And while we're at it, a little bit more business Hansberry, if you will, for people who are listening right now
Yeah.
and need to know about how they can get all this stuff and maybe move us on up the list of
Thanks for subscribing to Whiskey Business on your favorite podcasting app. Whatever it might be, go ahead and subscribe and rate and review if you get that option, because that helps us, move up the ladder.
Sure.
YouTube, Johnny does a great job. John Whitney, our video producer, does a fantastic job.
Uncut.
And it's uncut. Like the audio, the podcast, I try to make it sound kind of professional.
Right.
John just lets it roll. So it's kind of fun to watch.
Unless
You guys
things
both
get
know.
Maybe if
canceled,
we do
yeah.
that, maybe if we move from kind of professional to really,
Really
professional, maybe that'll move us up.
No, I would
the
say
food
it's
chain
kind
a
of
little bit.
professional.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, all
I
right.
can
I
work
will
on that.
too.
Okay.
I doubt we'll get there, but we'll work on it.
We'll start tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We'll
Yeah.
start
We'll
the
start
next
tomorrow.
podcast.
Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis on YouTube. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And go ahead and hit that bell button. Ding, 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 ding. And you'll get notifications when you do that.
We have sound effects on this podcast.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, or whatever the fuck that is. X? I don't know. Elon Musk has still let us be on there.
Whatever that
X.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
And evergreenpodcast.com. Thank you, our parent company.
Thank you, Evergreen. Thank you very much.
That's right.
Yeah, I got a nice email letter from the CEO.
And
Just I texted him or emailed him and said thank you so much. And
Did you invite him down here tonight for the Halloween episode?
no, I did not. I did not invite him down for
you
that.
sure it wasn't an
should've.
AI email? He just
I don't know what it was. I don't know. You know what? Maybe I didn't at all.
That's right.
Yeah, just,
Hello, podcaster.
It's a podcast with.
with
fellow podcast.
you enjoying your drink? What are you drinking? I got the Dante's Inferno. What do you got?
I got the. Well, he changed the name on it. It's the salty caramel old fashioned, but I think.
it's good.
But he's calling it the Poison Apple.
Poison Apple.
Which is a little, obviously, Sleeping Beauty.
No.
Or
That was my
whatever
first
it
one.
is.
Snow
What
White.
is it?
Yeah.
Snow White.
Yeah,
Snow White.
yeah.
Snow White.
Same thing. They're the same fucking person.
Obviously a Halloween
Yeah.
reference.
But God, yeah, Jesse, these are all fantastic. And if you get the what's this one called? I forget.
Dante's Inferno.
Drink it with the straw because you get like a.
Yeah. I'm drinking that right now, and it's really tasty.
They're all tasty.
Get one, guys.
Jesse's
right
a
now.
genius. Jesse's a
And
genius.
tip them.
Okay. We are in the jury room. Supposedly one of the most haunted bars in Columbus.
Yes.
Is this true? Let's welcome the owner, if you will, who actually lives
I will.
upstairs
Uh-oh.
for the jury room as well. Megan Dempsey, everybody. Megan Dempsey. Thank you so much. Grab a seat. Thank you so much for, first of all, being generous enough to let us record the podcast here tonight and give us such a lovely place to be at.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and, we've met in the past.
Yes.
You brought up something from 1,000 years ago. Open mic nights at Costello's.
Oh, it was
Wow.
terrible.
It was the worst, wasn't it?
Oh,
my God.
It was brutal.
Why were you there? Were you actually
I
performing?
wasn't there. I was, well,
Then how did you know about it?
because my husband Mark ran the bar, Costello's.
Okay, it all
That's
ties
it.
together. It was a great bar.
Yes.
It was a great bar.
It was a great dive bar.
It was a great
It was the
dive bar.
best dive
my
bar in
God.
Columbus
Is
at the
it-
time.
At the time. It's not around anymore, is
No.
it? No, that's too bad. What this
No.
bar is.
Thank you.
This bar
You
is.
think it's a dive bar?
No, I don't think this is a dive bar.
Okay.
I don't think it's a dive
Bar's
bar.
awesome.
My question is it a dead bar?
Dun, 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 dun.
Is it true? Was this bar built on Indian burial grounds, the Hopewell Indian?
I'm not sure about that, but I do know at Mountain High there was a
No, not me.
Oh.
In your microphone, not me.
here we go.
That's it.
At Mountain High, there was a burial ground that was so high they said you could see Chillicothe.
That happened to me once too.
And it's happened to us all, I'm sure. But it was so high
Tall.
you could see
was tall.
Chillicothe. But so as Columbus grew, people got, and it was right what is in the middle of the street now, Mountain High. It was so big and massive, and people got tired of going around it, so they tore it down. They used the clay to make the bricks for this building and the State House.
I see.
The original State House. I don't know if any of that's true.
So-
That's just what I
Is this
heard.
a burial mound, or do we know, because they have like garbage mounds and different things?
It was a burial mound.
Those
It
are
was.
burial mounds, yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly built over the Hopewell Indian burial grounds, and that
I don't
remains-
know if it extended this way, but I do know that the clay from the mound was made for the bricks that you see.
Now, one of the stories that circulates, and I've chosen two, that this used to be a bordello in the 18th. Yes, in the 1850s, and Francis Miller shot and killed Paulus. Am I saying it right? Ruprecht,
Ruprecht.
who was drunk and tried to break in when the bordello was closed up for the night, and She was charged with, I don't know if it was manslaughter or murder. It should have been self-defense, but a lot of people say that she got charged with the more serious crimes because of what she did for a living. Now, this guy supposedly tried to bring him and his buddies in and get some, which lesson learned right here. A drunken penis gets you in trouble every time.
It's true.
Every time. And she shot and killed him.
She did.
Yeah.
And actually, so the story goes, she lived here with her husband and daughter, and it was legal then. She was just a gal trying to make a living. And it was about midnight. She was closed for the evening. He came here with his friends, tried to bang down the door.
Which, like this door right here.
So,
yeah.
Probably that window
Gotcha.
there. And she kept saying, we're closed, and he was insistent. And so she picked up her shotgun and killed him dead. So they drug her. The courthouse was right across the street at the time. And so they took her across the street, booked her, and the newspaper article was really fabulous because they said, and they filleted her in the press. They said she had eyes like a cat and bony fingers that looked like it could hold a gun. And they called this place a low hovel of ill fame, which I need to get.
Very well written.
That's nice.
I know, I know. I need to get it in cross stitch over the door. It should be our tagline, I think.
Yeah, it'll make money for you now.
And
Yeah.
now she supposedly is one of the spirits that
Yes.
that is frequenting this particular place. What does she supposedly do, and have you experienced it? Because you seemingly seem to be somewhat of a skeptic in respects to what spirits exist or do not exist in this establishment.
All I can tell you is what I've heard.
Okay.
So I've heard, when I first moved in here, there was a woman who, there were offices in the back, what is now the Airbnb. And so
Wait. There's an
we'll talk about
there's
that.
an Airbnb.
Yes.
We'll get to her website. And,
Okay,
Yeah.
but so you
Yeah.
people can actually stay.
Yes,
It's awesome.
Here?
you can.
So we went up there today when I was setting up, and you know when you like know you're about to get in like deep shit with like your boss or your mom or your wife, and you get that like little like
Yeah.
sunken feeling.
It was weird.
No,
up there.
no.
I
lately.
got well, it happens to me a lot, and I got that feeling when we were up there.
You
You
did?
did?
Yeah,
Really?
I was just kind of like, all right, I'm ready to go down.
I got that feeling when we went up in the attic.
The
And
attic was
there were
fucked
stairs. I
up.
swear to God, they were that steep.
Oh my
And I went up
God.
there, and then it was like,
This is up
nope.
here. This
How
is up
about-
here, and you can rent this room.
Come on. Really?
Dude, the
Okay.
place is creepy.
Would I lie?
It was probably dirty up there. That's probably what it was.
I was trying to be nice, okay?
So have you experienced anything that obviously, if you have, I'm thinking you've explained it away somehow, but have you experienced anything per se?
A couple of things that were kind of strange. When we first moved in, there was, it was in the bathroom. I was just in the bathroom, and the trash can was in one place. And I walked out and heard a clanging, and it's like 15 feet away. Walked back in, and it was in a completely different place. That was kind of weird.
The trash can moved.
Yes. So,
And what did you
Very
say?
helpful.
What did you say?
I don't know. There was a restaurant down here at the time.
Yeah.
Could have been a rat. I don't know.
Could have big fucking
No,
rat.
that's what you do. You try to justify in your mind. You go, all right, well,
No.
it was this. Maybe someone came in. Maybe someone, like,
Right.
You got to try to do that. And, to.
We don't have rats now. I just want to make that
Yeah.
clear.
Noted. And it probably wasn't a rat. It was probably
Maybe.
a spirit.
Several rats.
So,
Now, do you think?
Okay, all right.
You first. Go,
So
go, go.
there was another time I had Airbnb guests. This was during the lockdown, and these were the nicest people, and they were there for this one woman, and she was just about to have a baby, and they just wanted to get together and have a girls' weekend upstairs, and Paulus Ruprecht, the man who was killed,
Right.
he is said to haunt the place, and he's kind of a trickster. and he likes the bathrooms. And the story is truly, like, there's more than one story where he locks the bathroom door, and people are sometimes in the bathroom and stuck in the bathroom. Sometimes people are outside the bathroom and just can't get it in the Airbnb, that area. That's what he likes up there. And so I get this call from her, and she says, we can't get the bathroom door unlocked. And I laughed, and I said, oh, that's probably Paulus. And she said, who? And so I explained it to her, thinking it was funny, because I don't really, it was probably just stuck. It's an old building. And they left and went and got a hotel.
I don't blame them. They're here for a baby shower?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, did they pay in advance?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right.
No, actually, I had to refund their money. But, I mean, that's my bad. That was on me.
Although it's funny because people would probably pay extra for that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's such a weird...
there's some people that actually want to be scared and want to
right.
experience something. Up in Granville, what is the
Oh,
yeah, we stayed up there.
The Buxton?
Granville Inn?
The Buxton, yeah.
yes.
We went up there as a radio show and stayed supposedly in the two most haunted rooms that exist, and nothing, and I was like sitting at the foot of the bed inviting it, and it's something. So maybe ghosts are spiteful and like well, if you're actually wanting it, then no, I'm not going to give it to you.
No, if you're too thirsty, they're not going to give it to you.
Right, yes. Speaking of thirsty, I would like another Dante's Inferno, please.
From
If
Jesse
you don't
Hubbard?
mind. Yes.
St. Russell Productions.
So the other story that I heard was about an older man, and this one's even a little creepier, and they say it's a little bit darker. An older man who was contemplating suicide because his son was killed in World War II, and supposedly he is in the basement. Now, you tell me the basement is really the creepiest of all the spots where supposedly some of these spirits are residing. And there was one group of paranormal investigators, not the ones that you were talking to me about earlier that are local, but another program that came in, and supposedly these investigators do whatever they need to do to protect themselves, and one didn't, and he said that he was overcome by the evil of the spirit of this particular man for a moment and almost lapsed into unconsciousness. Now,
Okay.
I don't know how you want
she
to
wasn't
address
here
any
for
of
that
that. That was a mouthful out of me, but do you know the spirit that I'm speaking of?
Yes, I have heard of that. And I know there's two basements here, actually.
Oh,
there's
two
one
basements.
right under here.
Right.
And this building was 1831. So we have a back building that was built in around 1875, something like that. That's the basement where it is.
Okay.
So I was just down there the other day.
And
That's where I keep all my Christmas trees,
Uh-huh.
and it's a mess.
haunted Christmas trees?
Yeah.
Spooky Christmas trees?
No, it's
Krampus.
Just, it's just a mess.
Krampus Christmas trees. Come on. Yeah. And you said that there was a local group here in Columbus that does paranormal investigations as well. They came and brought their gear.
They did.
And what did they find?
That was so much fun. They did a thing. We sold tickets to it. But it was an evening where basically we turned out the lights and everybody was walking around in the dark with flashlights. And they were in this room here, up in the Airbnb, and down in the basement on this side. And actually they caught some spirits in this room, like right around here, and up in the Airbnb.
By the bar. That guy's moving.
That's exactly where it was.
You move closer to him.
And upstairs in the Airbnb, they caught a nice old lady who they think is a great-grandmother. And then in the basement, they had these whiz-bang, whatever equipment they have, that it sounds like a radio frequency where they can catch voices. And so they would catch voices. There were 3 of them down there. One of them was named Joe. And they came through and they said, "How do you like Megan?" And they said, "She's nice."
No, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And so, you heard it?
I
They
heard it,
recorded
and
it, and you still remain skeptical?
I'm just not afraid of it. I'm just.
Are you afraid of anything?
No.
No,
Not really.
You've never been scared,
I mean, I live in a really old building,
right?
and
Well, how much is it if you just trying to like?
maybe that could
You,
be.
you know what I mean? Like just will yourself to not give a shit.
So,
you know what I mean? Like
when
you
we-
got to do that to some degree.
Yes, I think when we first moved in, I don't know if you guys know what's the name of the show, the Death Files on the Travel Channel.
Yeah.
So they came in and they did an episode here. It's called
Those are the investigators I was talking about. They did not protect themselves.
The Blood in the Bordello, which
Yeah.
was insane. And so they were going all around the building, and they said that it was super scary and it was evil. And so I watched that before I moved in here.
Oh wow.
And that's the knowledge I had walking in. So I'm upstairs.
it.
I know. And we're renovating. I'm upstairs by myself, just watched this show. And I said, "Hey,
Thanks, buddy.
we're a happy family. Be nice," is basically what I said. And so I'm just not afraid. I've never, ever been afraid. If anything, I feel very protected here.
Okay, that's interesting because when we talked to Ralph, and I might put the two of you together to have a little discussion as well. I think that he would. Are you nodding and saying that probably a good thing that she did? That's a great thing that you did. So yeah.
Yeah.
And now there's the other part of me that's like the ghosts are actually chilling right now and listening and thinking collectively, "Oh, we got to scare the shit out of her, right? we gotta do something, right?" I mean,
I'm oblivious.
You're oblivious to it.
Yes.
All right. That's very cool.
Well, until something blatantly happens. I mean, have you seen something like? There's a waitress I think who was here earlier last
Yes.
time I was here. She said she saw just somebody
Yes.
clear as day walking
A
through.
couple of actually, I was sitting with a friend of mine, and it was late one night, and we were at the end of the bar, and the lights were out, and she said she could see, and she thought it was Francis walking in the background.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chip.
I forgot to tell you guys.
Chip
was
looks a
wondering
lot
where you
like
were.
Francis. It's spooky. Well,
Can I ask Kennedy, how long has she been here?
Ken,
Since like 2020.
All right, and
I personally haven't seen anything, but I'm with Mrs. Dempsey. I really try not to believe that because I really want a job.
you really want to stay working it.
it's my girl.
Good answer.
Kennedy, the bartender
All right,
waitress.
Megan
Thank you,
Dempsey.
Kennedy.
Fair enough. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
No. What are you sorry
it's not
about?
Terrifying.
No. I like the fact that you're not terrified.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you're skeptical because when I bring up Ralph here in just a couple of minutes, I really want you to listen to his stories as well. And it's going to be interesting to compare the two of you together because I'm going to let you guys ask each other some questions.
Hold on. Last question for you, Megan. You live above this bar,
Right.
so like, what was your bedroom like? What was your living quarters like?
little
You know, back in the
personal,
day.
man.
No, well, I mean,
Yeah, a little bit.
no, like back in the day when they had the bordello and the bars, the blah 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 blah. Like, what was up there?
It was the bordello. It was, and there's terrible stories about that.
Because it was according to the
bordello.
dead files, a bloody bordello.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So apparently, a lot of nasty things happened, other than, what happens in a bordello,
Right.
supposedly. Right.
It's true.
It is true.
Yeah. There's a story. So that's Alonzo English up there. He was the mayor.
He was the mayor who liked to
Who-
frequent this place.
who convicted Francis Miller. And they said, but at the time in Columbus, I think it was different, and he handed down the sentence, and they say that he kind of overdid it a little because he was he came here.
Right,
He
on a
was
regular
customer.
basis. He was a frequent flyer.
So they say that he got somebody pregnant, one of the ladies, and chained her up upstairs, like in what's my living room now. That's where the poor girl stayed for the entirety of her pregnancy.
Oh my God!
I know.
As one will tend to do in the 1800s.
I mean-
yeah, chain him up and.
But
oh
the
my-
funny thing is, his brother was the pastor of the church, was at Mountain High.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there was
Yeah.
a conflict there of interest.
little bit.
There.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Who knows? Back in the 1850s. Crazy. So the place where you just, sit and watch your favorite TV shows. Back in the 1800s,
Yeah.
there was a pregnant woman chained up there.
Maybe.
For the
Wow.
maybe, supposedly rumored.
I have holy water too. A friend of mine gave me
Ah,
holy
okay.
water when
All
I
right,
first moved.
yeah.
And my priest gave me holy water too. Yeah.
But apparently you don't need it because.
I keep it up there.
Oh hell yeah, you keep it up there.
In case of
I have
emergency,
lots of
break
it laying
glass.
around. I'm not stupid.
Not at all. Megan Dempsey, everybody. Megan Dempsey.
That was awesome. That was so cool.
Man,
You hear the stories.
I tell you,
but hear it firsthand.
she's braver than me. I mean, I don't scare easy, but I also don't invite it as well. We'll talk to Ralph about my house for just a second here when he comes up. But yeah, to watch something like Bloody Bordello, and like,
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
I'm moving in.
It's like one of those Zillow videos. Oh yeah, look. Oh yeah, I'll take it.
Would
Look
you
at that
even
kitchen.
stay here as the Airbnb, Dino?
What's that?
Would you even stay here as the Airbnb?
Oh yeah, I would
Yeah,
stay
Megan,
here.
Megan,
I would
what's
stay
the
here.
website?
I would stay here.
I would.
All right.
Yeah.
Juryroomcolumbus.com.
Juryroomcolumbus.com.
The
TheJuryroomColumbus.com.
and you can rent the space.
Yeah.
And I don't know the details, but from what I was up there, it's a big space and
Oh,
it's a
it's
reasonable.
No, I did. I went up there and checked
It's
it out
really
as
nice.
well. I didn't get the same foreboding feeling
Yeah.
that you got at
Yeah.
all. It all seemed very pleasant and comfy.
It was weird, and there's this one room where I thought it was a mirror,
Yeah, that
but it was
pretty
like
weird,
a
wasn't it?
room. Like
Yeah.
it
But
is what
I
it
also
is.
believe it's your mindset as well. You
Yeah.
you kind of want it.
I go in looking for it.
You go looking for the creepy.
Yeah.
I don't go looking for the creepy. I've had enough creepy, crazy,
But I also,
dangerous things in my life that have just happened, let alone to go freaking looking for them on a regular basis. But you want to be creeped
Yeah,
out.
but that doesn't mean I always have it. My brother-in-law and I went to the Mansfield Reformatory,
Right?
and it was spooky, but
Did you go daytime or
nothing
nighttime?
happened. Night,
You went at nighttime?
and we were like, "Let's go," and nothing happened. So I'm saying that was unusual, is what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's bring somebody to the podcast now who's been seeing ghosts for as long as he can remember, and still, to this day, picks up on things. He's a great actor. You may have seen him on stages galore here in Columbus, Ohio, or in film. Writer, producer, actor, and he has this gift as well. That we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Ralph Scott, everybody. Let's bring him on up. Ralphie has been on the podcast with us before, but I wanted you here tonight because this is a space that you have not been in previously. And I asked you initially, like, did you sense anything when you first came in? And when you first came in, you said, not much. But then
I'm sitting over here talking to Gil, and
Gil.
I started getting the cold flop sweats and a little bit dizzy. And yeah, then I asked you if there were basements. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could feel it in my feet. Just
In your
a
feet?
heaviness.
a heaviness.
heaviness,
What
yeah.
actually happens? You mentioned the flop sweats. Is that what happens to you when you pick up and sense something?
It can vary. For this, now I'm used to it. Now I've adjusted to the vibration. And it's like, okay, cool. And Megan, are you still back there? Oh, hi, Megan.
gonna
Yeah,
get it
that's
together.
so great that what you're doing, being positive, because the spirits feed off, especially the bad ones, feed off of the fear. They love that. It's like a Big Mac to them.
Did you say Big
so
Mac?
you not being afraid gives them absolutely no power, and it weakens them. But also this area here, they don't like to come in here
Because
when
this
there's
is
a lot
fun,
of
it's
people,
good,
because
yeah,
life is
yeah,
painful.
Yeah.
It's a reminder of what they've lost and left behind, and it's a lot of pain for them. So they hang down. I think, was I telling you? They're downstairs.
They're downstairs in the basement. Yeah.
Downstairs in the
Two
basement.
basements, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. But no, I went to, there's a mansion down the road that my friend Ian James lives in that they redid. He's big into politics. It's a $1 million mansion. It's close to the governor's mansion. And they redid it. And I went there with my brother was in town. We've known Ian since we grew up in Athens. And I walked in, and it was, someone from Athens. Cool. Hey, all right. Yes, there you go. Speaking of ghosts, yeah. It was like, sometimes it's like flipping through a picture book, a picture album, where you just get flooded with images. And sometimes you can handle it, and other times I had to leave. I had to walk out. I couldn't take it anymore.
So it doesn't get overwhelming at times?
Yes.
When did this start?
It's always been there.
Since you were a child?
Since I was a child. And I just gotten my, when you get older, your mom gives you your old baby books. And she gave me my old baby book. And on the first page is my first Halloween. I was born in December, so I was just a year old, or
Not quite.
not quite a year old yet. And apparently, pictures and little, even cartoon ghosts and skeletons scared the shit out of me, even at that age. So I've always seen them.
We were talking about. You've told a lot of these stories on previous podcasts, and we were discussing about something that maybe would be new to people that have heard you before in the podcast. You were talking about Apple Valley.
Yes. We moved, I moved back from Chicago, which is a whole nother set of stories in Chicago, which is incredibly haunted.
So much. Yeah.
Moved to Apple Valley in 2000. And the house that we moved into was at the top of the mountain. And that is why the Shawnee, any of the Indians, they build mounds on top of burial grounds because it's just like the pyramids. It's a power and also protective. So this house. It was shaped as a T, but it was just my wife's parents' summer cottage that they built. But it was at the top of a mountain, and we would walk in. And it didn't just happen to me. It happened to every member of the family. You would walk in, and it would sound like the TV was on. The second you walked up the stairs into the main room, it would stop. And then every night at 1:15 in the morning, you had to clear out of there. Or they would, something at 1:15, Megan? Oh, shit.
Megan Dempsey in the
You
back.
always wake up at
wakes up
1:15?
Says she
Seriously?
always wakes up at 1:15.
Now, does that have any significance in the
I have
in
no
the spirit
idea.
world? 1:15 a.m.
Again, I don't study it. I don't
Because in
know.
the movies, it's like at 3:33 or
Yeah.
6:60 or whatever.
Or 6:66? Whose
Yeah.
clock is that? Whoa!
It's the wrong clock.
It's a right bad clock. Yeah. Anyway,
So
wonder
I
why
was
I'm
sitting
late
there
all the
one night,
time.
and the cats. We had 3 cats at the time. They would run into the bedroom at right before 1:15. I was sitting there playing video games. I was playing Tomb Raider. Anybody remember Tomb Raider?
Oh yeah, Laura Croft.
Playing Tomb Raider. I was by myself. I'm with the cats. The cats are on the couch. We had a small crawl space above us, and you could always hear boxes moving up there. Always. And yeah, you could mark that and say, oh, well, hell, it's a possum. It's an animal. We're out in the woods. It's got to be something, not that. But the cats are sitting there with me, and they're looking up in unison, moving back and forth. I looked at the cats and said, don't worry, it's nothing. The biggest smash, the entire house shook. It was like 2 fists came down on the top of the house and shook the entire house. Wow. And I was like, okay, that's it. We're going to bed. Let's go. But I would get up, and because I'm a guy, I would get up and pee in the middle of the night. Perhaps more than once, but
around 1:15.
But no, it was after 1:15. But I would open the bedroom door, and you'd hear a party going on out there, and everything would stop, and you could feel dozens of eyes staring at you and watching you. You go to the bathroom, go back in, and I talk to them just like you would, Megan, and say, "Yep, just go to the bathroom. It's fine. The place is yours. It's all yours."
Well, that happens to you now whenever you walk into a room, doesn't it?
I don't know how to respond to that.
But that's what they say. It's like you don't necessarily need to embrace them, but speak to them. Say, "This is my spot. This is my space." You know, just call them out.
Yeah, if you call them out and you are kind and respectful, but most of them are in pain, and I've been told many times that I'm a empath and that they're attracted to me because I'm supposed to help them cross over.
Well, yeah, that was my next question. Why you?
I'm attracted to you.
Why? Yeah, and I wish he would help you cross over as well and be over and done with it by now. But it'll, soon. I'm hopeful.
One day.
Anyway,
I have no idea. I think I've lived many lives. When you guys were talking about horror movies that you liked or scared the shit out of you, the one that I saw that scared, other than The Exorcist, which scared the shit out of me, was the reincarnation of Peter Proud.
Oh, that's I remember that one.
Scared the shit out of me because I knew what it was like to die. I know what it's like to drown. Of when you finally give up your life and go, okay, that's it. I'm gonna let go. I know what it's like to be in a plane crash.
When you say you know what it's like to be in those things, you've experienced those things in other lives? Is that what you're telling me?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes. It took me years to fly because I was like, no, I can't go through that again. I can't die in a plane crash again. To hear the baseball bats beating against the fucking plane when it hits the trees, and to make that, and when there's that sudden violence, you make this sound that you're embarrassed of. It's a grunt or whatever the hell it is.
Sure. Okay.
But you're embarrassed. It's just it's very odd.
I'm intrigued. I mean, and this is a subject that I'm not knowledgeable about. So if you don't have the answer to this question, I apologize. But you say you are meant to help people cross over. Now, if you were to help me, if I were to die, you were to help me cross over. Once I cross over, so once you cross over, are you over? Are you done? Or do you get reincarnated? I mean, how many times? I mean, who do you? What if you have been reincarnated? Do you have any recollection as to what you were at any given point when there was a car crash or a plane crash? Who you were, what you were doing? Because everybody always says, I was Julius Caesar, I was Cleopatra. It's always somebody huge and famous. It's never like I was a fucking accountant in 1932 and I was bad at it, and that's
I have no idea. I think it just comes to you. I know my wife and I went to a psychic for one of our anniversaries, and I have a tremendous amount of empathy for the mentally challenged, overweight women. The tremendous. What? Who said that? I do. I don't know why. But she told me, oh yeah, in the 1800s, you were part of this rich family. You were this. What's that, love?
Middle-aged and menopause.
There you go.
What that is.
But she said, yeah, and I was
the M&Ms. The M&Ms.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't pursue this.
No, you don't. You don't.
I don't embrace it. He's the only person on this planet that can get me to talk about it because I trust him with my life. So I don't know. I wish I had more answers for you.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't mean to put you on the spot. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, let's bring it down to more like personal levels. Like you went to Dino's house, we shake hands. We were joking earlier. I feel like every time I see you and shake your hand, he's like judging me because he knows all like it's like the and he sees all the bad shit that I did, all my porn on the internet. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Well, no, but it's interesting. You know how much. Because my next question is, and I apologize if this is rude. I'm trying to be very objective here. Has anybody just said, "Yo, you're full of shit"?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And how do you handle that?
I don't give a fuck. I don't. And I was like, I know what I
You're full of
experienced.
shit.
I don't care if you believe or not. It's not my job to make you believe.
Right.
You want to hear what happened? I'll tell you what happened. But no, I could give a shit. Now, when I was living in New York City, we were doing our internship, and my friend Steve Geyer never believed any of it. And
Never believed that you had these gifts and
no,
abilities?
I kept telling him, I'm seeing this old guy walking through our apartment all the time. And he's like, you're full of shit. You're just imagining it. You're imagining it. So I had a dream vision about these Mexicans getting killed in this yellow van. And it was so vivid. I could see them calling for it almost brings me to tears talking about it, calling for their mothers while they slowly died. Mm-hmm. And I told them about it while we're taking the subway into Manhattan. I was like, man, I just can't get this vision out of my mind, this yellow van. This is 1988, I think. So yeah, no phones, none of that other shit. We get out of the subway, go up, and on the back of the New York Post is massacre in Manhattan, and this yellow van and these 6 bodies in the back of it. That had happened that night. And then he was like, shit, we got to get out of that apartment. It's haunted.
It's interesting how those things happen. And I personally don't believe in coincidence. I never have. I don't believe in a coincidence. I think that things happen when they're supposed to happen and happen for reasons. And while I also try to explain things away, a lot of things away, because that's how my mind works. There's always an explanation for something. I am fascinated by the fact how some things are connected, especially with the whole reincarnation thing. When I was a comedian on the road, before I was a comedian, I did investigative work. You know this.
Yep.
A lot of people do. And there was a lady who was at the show, and she was a past life psychic. Now, I never talked about what I did as far as investigative work on stage ever. I still don't, never have. I've shared it with our podcast audience now, but at that particular time, she had no clue. And she asked for, I had a ring on my finger. It was my father's ring, and she took it, and she took the ring, and she said, And I said, what? She goes, I don't know if you want to know this or not. And I said, what? She goes, you were an investigator. You were a private investigator in the 1940s, and you were horribly murdered. In the 1940s. Wow. And I went, wow. And she had no idea that I was an investigator before, so I'm kind of curious. And then I thought, wow, I didn't even get reincarnated into something else. I got, but I'm wondering if I would have continued to pursue that line of work. And I remember also being in Chicago when I was in the thick of it on a case that was,
sweaty.
Yeah, they put a. And there was a psychic on the Navy Pier, and it's almost too funny. It's so funny that it is, but it's true. The psychic's name was Marvell.
Oh,
Marvell.
Oh, that's a good
All right,
name.
and of course, I paid the $5, and just for the entertainment value, and Marvell just didn't ask me what I did for a living or anything at all, and just looked at me and said, "What do you do?" And I said, "Why?" She just shook his head and said, "We're done." She goes, "You're in danger. You're in horrible, horrible danger."
Girl, you in danger.
Yeah. You're almost like in Ghost. You're in horrible, horrible danger. And sure enough, a week later,
that's when you got shot.
Yeah,
he died.
Damn. Yeah.
Well, but grazed.
Grazed.
Well, still. Bullets, I guess.
It was a new shirt too.
Yeah, but it was interesting. Yeah, And then you talk about my house. My house, you say my house has got spirits in it. My daughter snuck in here about midway through the podcast. She's from New York City.
D squared.
She is also very much like you.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
and that she's very in tune. And I remember one day she said she came downstairs very calmly and said, "I saw an old man sitting at the foot of your bed." And at the time, with the way she described him, I thought it was like he sounded like my grandfather. But then I come to find that as I continued to live there, that
there's
stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, there's stuff there.
There's stuff there.
Yeah.
Some of the experiences you've had in my house.
When we were filming auditions at your house, and I went back and looked at it, and you can see a spirit orb come down.
What are spirit orbs?
They're little circles, little.
Well, you always see that on the.
orbs.
This is what they say on the photographs. Like you go to a cemetery
But couldn't
or
that?
on
And
a
then
spot,
again,
you
this
take
is
a
me
photograph.
explaining everything away. Couldn't that just be the lighting
light,
and the
blah, blah,
camera,
blah.
the
Yeah,
lens,
yeah, yeah,
and so
yeah,
forth
yeah,
and so on?
Backing,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had it was during the day. I was say if it was night, yeah, it could have been a headlight, but no, this is during the day. And I think I showed it to you and John, and we couldn't explain it away. Downstairs in your basement, we were doing a writing session. And of course, we'll drink a little bit of whiskey during the writing session.
That doesn't sound right.
So we crashed there, and I was sleeping downstairs, and he has this lovely downstairs with a lovely bed and surrounded by DVDs, and then a door that opens.
You know,
that
because I'm
goes-
current that way as far as my filmmaking
DVDs,
and
not
watching
Blu-ray.
experiences go.
Not Blu-ray.
And then it goes into the laundry room / poker room, which is the same length as the lovely basement lounge, I will call it.
Viewing
but
room.
There's a door.
Movie room.
And that door, while I was sleeping, kept opening and closing. And now, if it would just open, I would be like, oh, well, then it's just, the house. And it's like,
Sure.
no. But it would open, and it was like he was trying to see if I was still there, then would close. Then it would open and close. Happened about eight times. But then I heard, then a cat woke me up. A cat kept meowing, and I have cats at home, and I was like, oh my God, it's like, what's the deal with this cat? And I told you about it in the morning, and you were like, oh, well, yeah, one of Danny's cats passed away down there. And I was like, oh, all right, well, that tracks. That makes sense.
I don't know if it passed away down there, but her last days were.
It's still down
there at my house, but also being protective is what you said.
Yes, very protective, and also the gentleman that's down in the basement. He's very protective of you.
That's good to know.
Charles
Whoever that
or
is.
What's that?
It was Charles.
Bill?
Or,
No,
Bill.
Bill. They
Bill.
said Bill. They
Bill.
say they say it was a guy named Bill, and then I happened to look up the original deed to the house, which was built in 1935, and sure enough, first name on the original deed is Bill.
William.
I can't remember his last name,
William.
but it was Bill. So, yeah. Again, I don't believe in coincidences, but if those things are actual and factual and part of the whole fabric of it all, then I guess I have to suspend some sort of belief
George,
and embrace it.
George and Hope are still. Yeah, there's Hope. George, are you back there?
Yeah.
There you are.
There he is.
Did you talk to Colin West when he was filming Double Walker?
Yeah.
Yeah, the house that we used as the production place, and we filmed there, haunted.
Yeah.
A woman had died there. He slept upstairs. A lot of the crew, everybody stayed there, and eventually, people just started. He then went down and started sleeping in the living room because there was too much stuff going on. And the second I walked in there and we were filming, and I was like, there's something in here. There's something here. And he's like, oh, yeah, how'd you know that? I was like, it doesn't matter. There's something here. So I think it was the second night of filming. We were filming till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'm driving back home, and I swear to God, I was like, somebody is in my van. And I kept looking in my rearview mirror, and no one's there. I keep looking, but still get that feeling, and hair's standing on the back of my head. I get home, get into my bedroom, set my phone down, and I hear a woman's voice behind me go, "Well, now what?" Scared the shit out
Yeah,
of me.
no
and
kidding.
I turned around, and maybe this answers your question. I was like, now it's time to move into the light.
Let's go.
Or to go home. If you want to move into the light, and supposedly you're just supposed to look straight above, and that light is always with you. And if you choose to move into the light, then you can cross over.
Interesting. Megan, let's bring you up here for a second. You've been listening to Ralph, and I want to see if either one of you have questions for each other as we wrap things up here tonight as well.
Just before we get Ralph, if I shake your hand, what do you think of me? You all right? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
God. Thank fucking God.
Here,
I'm just so worried.
Shake my hand. Yeah. How do you feel now? Yeah.
The only thing
just
I get
so
is that
paranoid.
unicorn masturbation thing that you do. That's it.
Don't knock it till you try it.
So, Megan, you've been listening to Ralph.
Yes.
And thoughts. Do you think he's full of shit? Do you believe that he believes what he believes? Has it changed your thought process at all in respects to what goes on here?
No, I don't think he's full of shit at all. No.
I wouldn't think you would.
No, I didn't think so either. But, I'm
No.
asking point blank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does
No, and it's not that I don't believe it. And I believe that my grandma was Fae. That
Right.
we call it Fae.
Irish.
It's an Irish thing. And like people
Yeah.
that see things
That see
like
things.
that.
Which other people you refer to as the shine. Some people have the shine.
Yes.
Yeah, they're able to see things and feel
Right.
things.
Right.
So your grandmother believed
Yes.
that people had the fae.
Yes.
Or were fae.
Yeah, actually, I've had things myself where, like, I've had a feeling something would happen, and then it happens. It doesn't scare me, but it scared my grandmother. She had they moved here from Canada, and it had been years since she'd seen her brother. And she was standing at her kitchen sink looking out the window and saw an apparition of her brother coming up the driveway, and then got news the next day that he passed away.
Okay.
And it scared her. Of course.
The same thing happened with my Irish grandmother, who we were very close. I knew that I was working at Gino's in Chicago, waiting tables, and I kept crying for some reason. I was like, oh my God, what's happened? Something has happened.
Yes.
And my manager came out and said, you need to go home right now. Started crying again because I knew she's dead. She's dead. And I walked into my apartment, and my wife told me, your grandmother's dead. I knew it. So,
right.
yeah, I would say I knew things,
I have that
premonitions.
stuff too.
Yeah, you're Irish.
Yes. Yeah.
So I find it interesting that you embrace that, but you won't embrace.
Well, it's
This.
that,
I
you
think
know.
it's safer that you don't.
Right.
I think that's
Yeah,
that
yeah, how
strength.
much of it
because
Who
is
knows
defense
what the
mechanism,
hell
right?
is
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
There's nothing new under the sun, and God only knows what has happened here.
Yeah.
I can't get into all that. I just don't have time for all of that.
You got a
Good.
business to run.
I think it's
I'm
very
really,
smart.
really busy,
Yeah.
and I have shit to do, and
Well, I actually said that too when there
Yeah.
were some goings on in the house, and I remember one night that the cupboards were banging up, opening and closing, and it was when I was working on a film as well. We were working on -1, actually, yeah. And I was working all day, working all night as the producer, and went home and had a chance to get 2 hours of sleep. And I was upstairs, and the cupboards were banging, closing, opening and closing, and I actually yelled, "Bill, knock it off!"
yes,
And they stopped.
yes,
Yeah.
Because apparently he would get upset. He liked, according to the person that was there that told me all this stuff, he enjoys people being in my house.
Yes.
And when the house would go empty for a long time without any social activity, he would get upset and do stuff like that. And I was like dead tired. I was just, Bill, knock it off. I wasn't scared or upset or anything like that. But then again, other things happened. in my house.
Maybe that's what it is
What?
with me. Is it's just that, I mean, who knows what's happening around us? We don't know.
Nobody knows.
But but it shouldn't be a scary thing. It's just a thing. And these are all just spirits or
Yeah.
entities or whatever. And
it scared me more as a child.
I bet it did.
And yeah, the only one that really scared the shit out of me that I never went back, and I told this story I think before.
It's okay.
Was in Chicago, old building, 1900s, and run by this the Apostles, a lovely Greek family, and it was just the mother who was 80 or something. She was our landlord. I took her to the store, took care of her. Her son was a lawyer and ran a section of the Greek mob. But he was really appreciative of me, of taking care of his mom. And he'd be like, "Hey, Ralph, you know what? How about you don't pay rent this month, okay? You don't have to pay it." And I was like, "Hey, great." But they had been there forever. Since the early 1900s, the Apostles have been there and owned this corner on Winthrop and Brotherton in Chicago. Downstairs was a laundry room and storage. And you'd flip on this light, and it didn't matter if it was daytime, didn't matter when you turned on the light. There was one corner that stayed dark. And you would go down there and do laundry, and I would look over there, and I knew you could tell something is over there, and it's bad, it's horrible. And I went down to go and change the laundry over, and I'm thinking, I'm not saying anything, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not looking at you, I'm not looking at you, I'm not looking at you, I'm just changing the laundry, I'm not looking at you. And then the loudest voice in this gravelly, "Look at me."
Oh,
And that scared the eye. If I could have, I would have shit myself. But I have never been so frightened in my entire life. And I never went back into that room, no matter what, because it told me, shit, they can read my mind.
Sure.
I never said anything. And you can know what's going on in my head. That scared the shit out of me.
And
But
that proves what
the
you're
other
talking about.
stuff, it doesn't scare me. It's just like, oh, okay, cool. What can I help with?
Yeah.
But that attitude of strength and, hey, this is my place. You are welcome here. This is fine. Just don't fuck with my family. Leave my family alone. We're happy and we're good people.
She's doing all the right things.
She's doing all the right things.
She's doing all the right things.
Yeah.
All the right things. Well,
Thanks,
I
guys.
personally have learned a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Ralphie. Thank you, Megan. I've learned a lot of things this evening. I hope that you guys have. I know my, it's kind of funny. I mentioned that my daughter's here. She never knew that I got shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Sorry, Danny, I've been
she
shot
said she's
too.
not
I've been
surprised.
shot too. The bullet's still in there.
Yeah, she or shot at, baby girl, shot at. We're gonna wrap things up tonight. How about a nice big round of applause for Chris Hamel from Gateway? Don't forget,
Thanks, Chris. That was
Nightmares
fun.
Film Festival,
That was so
October
fun.
26th through the 29th as well. Megan Dempsey, thank you so much. Jury
Thanks,
Room.
Megan.
Available for all your events right here. And Ralph Scott, everybody. Ralph Scott. Also want to thank, of course, the boys, John Whitney, who does all the great videography here. Chip Cosell, who does just about everything and anything we ask.
He
of
hung
him.
up that light.
Yeah, he
We
put
need-
up that light. He put
God,
up
we
that
were like,
light.
we need a light.
And of course, our Halloween influencer extraordinaire,
Halloween
Greg
Hansberry on
Hansberry.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
And the guy that's kept you nice and wet this evening, Jesse Hubbard, everybody. Jesse Hubbard.
Other business.
A quick little shot at the business before we go, Greg.
Thank you so much. John Whitney's got all the video, the unedited YouTube video of this.
Everything's there.
Everything's
Why do you
there.
have to say it so sinister like?
Well, because I don't know.
It's unedited.
Because if you're hearing me, you're not seeing the unedited version, and you might want to be like, "What?" It's called marketing, for Christ's sake.
Blow my mind.
It's called a stretch.
Anyway, YouTube, Whiskey Business with Dino Protus. Smash that little subscribe button. Hit the bell. Ding ding. And then you'll be all set. Whiskey Business, whiskeybusinesspod.com is our website.
Right.
Evergreenpodcasts.com. I'm just like, yeah.
I don't think there are any sound effects coming every
I
time.
just need some acknowledgement.
We always do the business, and you always you're so hesitant.
Facebook, Instagram,
We got Facebook.
X.
Well, yeah, I don't know what our X account is anymore.
X.
I don't know.
But thanks for subscribing on your favorite podcasting
But we're
app.
on Instagram, Facebook, and you can get this anywhere you get your favorite podcast.
That's it.
This is the part of the professionalism I was talking about that might move us up
I
from
said
16
tomorrow.
to the top 10 before it's
Tomorrow.
all said and done. Yeah,
Tomorrow.
we'll do it tomorrow. All right, many thanks to my boys. Many thanks to you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great October, a safe and fun Halloween, and until the next bottle, see ya. Yeah.